What's up, everybody? It's your boy Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach. And I want to let you know that my book, The Embrace Method, How to Leverage Your Trauma and Pain to Live the Life of Your Dreams, the second edition is now available on Amazon for purchase. Through heartfelt anecdotes, practical exercises, and profound insights, this book will show you how to confront your demons, heal your wounds, and emerge stronger and more resilient, ready to embrace a future with limitless possibilities. Remember, embracing your pain is the first step to transforming it into power. Be sure to get your copy today. And remember, embrace your struggles, embrace your successes, and most importantly, embrace yourself. Visit www.embracemethod.com to learn more about the Embrace Method book and the Embrace Framework.
Welcome to the Roots and Rhythm podcast, where we explore the essence of culture, our experiences, and a healing journey that shapes our growth and family. Through heartfelt stories about marriage, mental health, relationships, and parenting, we create a space where you can find connection, understanding, and inspiration. Join us as we explore the rhythms of life, one story at a time.
What's up, everybody? Yeah. Welcome to another episode of Roots and Rhythm, where we explore the rhythms of life one story at a time. It's your boy, Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach. And you already know I'm in the building with my lovely co-host,
Angie, Psilocybin Mommy.
In the building, we just want to say welcome back to the Roots and Rhythm crew. I know you guys missed us last week.
We took a week off and it felt like a month, Vlad.
It felt like a month, man. We've missed you guys. It has been not the same without you. You know, we've had a lot of things hitting this family, a lot of transitions. I think you were sick, sis. I was in Virginia.
Yeah.
And we try to make it happen, man. We actually, in full transparency, we recorded a couple of episodes. And long and behold, you know, one deviation away from our routine and we had no sound.
Yeah,
so
technology
technology was not on our side. So we said, hey, man, you know what? We're just going to call it. But I am so happy to be back with you guys. I know that you had some sick stuff going on.
Yeah, the flu done flew in the house, but we're all healthy again. Wallace came back, took care of us, then left us again. So he'll be back later on in the week. So it's me and the girls, and today's picture day. So the girls are looking cute with their hair done.
Hey,
I'm excited to see these pictures, to see how many I'm ordering. So prepare your life for new pictures.
Prepare your life for new pictures. Now, I think Lito had one picture day, and that is right there. Then we see that over there. My man always keeps a vigil, a watch. He's vigilant in this room when he's not in the house smashing stuff. So, we went to Virginia for a friend's wedding, and it was a really good time. We haven't seen this friend particularly in like 6 years. And so last time we saw her, she was living in Boston, and she was single, and she was in between jobs. And I didn't know what was happening. 6 years later, she's married. She's getting married. She got a new job, and she lives somewhere new. I'm like, you know, our friends are winning. I love
life
that.
Be lifing.
Yeah, so it was a great time, man. Her family's from Ireland, and so, you know, I got to meet her mom finally and her sisters. It was just really good time. Different type of wedding, though. You know, there was no DJ. No dancing. It was on a lawn somewhere. There was music, but there was no DJ.
A lot of conversations, like games and stuff.
Yeah, actually, there were lawn games. And you know what, actually, because we had a COVID wedding. And we just had it in our house, in our condo. We went to the church, did the thing, had the limo, came back, cut the cake, did the pictures, and that was it. But if we were to do it all over again, I wouldn't do no grandiose wedding. I'd prefer to have it like that with a DJ. But I don't really know about long games. I'm not one for cornhole.
I ain't one for outside.
A lot of bugs. You would have been bugging.
Yeah, I don't do bugs and outside.
You don't do bugs and outside. So you never have an outdoor wedding?
Never. My wedding was very much inside in the central air.
Inside in the central
Yes,
air.
I need air. I don't want bugs. I don't want my feet touching the grass. I don't want the elements.
So you're telling me you've never rooted yourself before? You know what rooting is?
No, I've never dug my feet in the dirt.
Yeah, that's what
Feel
that is.
the elements.
You never did that before?
Nope.
Damn. I only did it once since we moved here. And it felt wrong, and I felt violated. But that was my upbringing, not.
No, and granted, when I was little, I was outside. I was climbing trees. I was in the dirt. And then I feel like that transition, I went through puberty and that change, and I was like, never again. Why would I go outside?
So it's kind of like the menopause without the menopause.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No thanks.
Right. Well, you know, our trip to D.C., if you would have come, you might not have liked the actual being outside part, but it was actually pretty good. We got into some wares there, and we had a great time. And which actually somewhat inspired our conversation today. And like I said, we had 2 episodes that we had already recorded, but I think God had other plans for us.
Yeah, we weren't supposed to talk about them things.
We weren't supposed to be talking about them things, right? So check this out. Today, episode is all about faith, family, and the D word, drugs.
Oh.
Ooh.
I didn't know what D word, where it was going, Vlad.
Yeah, I don't know what the D, not,
I was like, the D word.
No, we're not doing that. Nah, faith, family,
The
and
other
drugs.
D word.
So something that's been a topic of conversation in my group chat that your husband's a part of, and our immediate friends group, our village is a part of, is we were talking about the recent push for Massachusetts to legalize psilocybin. Now, psilocybin, if you don't know, is a chemical compound that is found in mushrooms. You heard people doing mushrooms. You think of shroom heads walking around, walking on Earth and doing crazy stuff.
It would be Massachusetts trying to legalize that.
Yeah, well, other states have, right? And we can get in that in a little bit. But the reason why I started getting interested in this is Julie and I watched this documentary about psilocybin. It's on Netflix. I'm going to find the name for it here. But it changed the way that I saw drugs, things that are classified and scheduled as drugs. And these are things that are naturally, organically occurring in nature, right? And so it really flipped all of my cultural upbringing and the values and upbringing that I had on its head. Whereas we used to look at drugs as an absolutely no-go, right? Whereas, bro, we take Advil when we have headaches and pains and all that. We take Tylenol. These are all drugs. They're all scheduled. They're just scheduled in different ways, right? And so it's the government controls and tells us what drugs are okay and what drugs aren't. But have we ever really pushed ourselves to wonder and to ask ourselves, right, Angie, like, what are drugs really? What are these things really that are so taboo and banned in our households and our culture that the government says so bad? Is there science behind it? Is it propaganda? Is it information that we're lacking? Is it information that we have that the abundance of which informs why we don't do these things or why we shouldn't have these things? And what is it about our cultural upbringing as Caribbean-rooted people that makes us either desire or abstain from drug and substance use, right? And then how do our life experiences tie into that? So that's what we're talking about today.
Oh, I love it.
So, yeah, man. So let's think about something right here just to open up the conversation. When you think of the word drugs, what do you think of?
Illegal. Okay. And it's crazy because drugs is like Tylenol, LOL, right? So it's like, that's not illegal. But the word drugs, to me, just tells me that I'm not supposed to be doing it, if that makes sense.
Now, how would drugs talked about at home?
Oh,
for those who don't know.
They weren't. So the only thing it was like, you're not supposed to do, people are going to offer you things. What are the things? Things, and you shouldn't do them. You don't take what people give you.
Don't take what people
But then these are the same parents that it's like, if you're sick, they're going to give you someone else's prescription. Oh, famous.
Whoa, yeah, dig into that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's like, oh, you're sick, right, Vlad? You're my brother, you're sick. Now I am showing kind of the same symptoms. My mom will just give me your medicine.
Well, but is this over-the-counter medicine?
No.
Or is this like, I have a prescription for Valium, and I'm giving you some Valium because you...
Yeah, but what's Valium for?
A Valium's for pain.
Okay,
That's
so
probably,
yeah.
After, like, surgery.
Yeah. Probably.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Or maybe not. All right, we're not talking about giving kids Valium, but...
Yeah, right, yeah. Just like, oh, you had a sinus infection, the doctor gave you a steroid. Oh, you kind of have the same thing. Here you go.
Did they ever backfire?
Not to my knowledge, thankfully.
Damn.
But again, it was never like things for like super strong stuff, I guess. Or thank God it never backfired. You know.
So you said the house rules. We talking about house rules.
Oh yeah. So it's like, oh, kids at school might offer you like cigarettes or drugs. Don't do them. And then DARE was a big thing when I was in school.
DARE, I remember DARE. I had a DARE hat and a DARE shirt.
Right. So it's like, DARE, don't do drugs, right? Say no to drugs, say no to drugs. But then in that same drug conversation, they'd be like, oh, don't smoke cigarettes. So my dad's been smoking cigarettes since he was like 12. So we'd go to him crying like, Papi, you're going to die. Don't smoke cigarettes. And then his thing, I've been smoking since I was 12 years old, blah, blah, blah. I ain't dead yet, la, la, la. But yeah, none of my siblings ever smoked cigarettes.
None of your siblings ever smoked cigarettes? Okay.
The 6 of us.
Okay. Have either of you, we're going to get into personal experiences in a bit, but have either of your siblings ever experimented It was just,
Oh yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
okay.
Not me though. I'm scared of everything.
So you took that to heart when your mom said, "Don't do it."
I did. But then I'd be that person's like the one day that I do experiment, I'd be in the hospital. Then they gotta call my mom. Then my mom would be over there freaking out, crying, and it'd be all my fault. But I think that's why. But I also think it's because I'm the oldest. I'm like, well, I have to set a good example. Shit didn't work.
Oh,
but
it didn't work.
It didn't work. No, not the being an example part.
Don't do that to yourself, girl. I think you're a phenomenal example.
Oh well, thank you, but not in the drug department.
So when we talk about house rules and drugs
Mm-hmm.
in our upbringing, and obviously you're Cuban and Dominican,
Mm-hmm.
right? My family's from Haiti. What were the cultural attitudes towards drugs and substance use? And we're gonna, for the purposes of this, tie in things like gambling, alcohol as well.
Oh.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Vlad the Bull, your #1 Embrace coach. Listen, I know that you are enjoying this Roots and Rhythm podcast episode, but I want to take a minute to talk to my fellas. Let's talk energy and vitality. If you've been feeling low, sluggish, or not quite yourself in the bedroom, it's time to check out the Natural E-Man. It's a powerful, all-natural men's supplement created by a good brother I trust, Dr. Quentin Cancel, someone I met in my men's group who's all about holistic health and real results. Trust me, I've seen the impact firsthand. So if you're ready to level up your energy, confidence, and performance, visit naturaleman.com and feel the difference. That's naturaleman.com. The link's in the show notes. All right, y'all, let's get back to the podcast.
Yeah, so alcohol, like my parents will have wine at night, like a sangria, but we never had like alcohol liquor at home. It was always sangria or wine.
So I never had none of that rum.
No,
Dominican
no.
rum. What about
no.
cortado? Or not cortado. I'm thinking about the
Coquito.
Coquito.
Yeah, that's
Yo,
the Puerto
don't
Rican
drink
rum.
cabbage.
Well, no, ponche. Ponche is what Dominicans drink at Christmas time. But yeah, around Christmas time. But we never had it. Like we'd have it if we went somewhere. But my parents never had it at home.
So your parents never made it, yeah.
No, they never made it. And then it's funny because we grew up around a lot of Mexicans, and like our Mexican friends' parents and stuff were friends with like my parents because those were the only friends that were allowed to come to our house if like my parents knew their parents, like they worked together and stuff. So one of our friends' dads would ask my dad, like, you got 6 kids. I know you drinking beer. And my dad was like, no, I don't drink beer. Yeah, because I guess he'd drink a lot of beers to, like, I don't know, calm himself down from having all these kids. And my dad was like, no, I don't drink. My dad used to smoke, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, cigarettes.
Yeah.
But he never drank. Like, he was never, like, that person that liked alcohol. Neither am I. So it was just funny because he's like, I know you're drinking beer. And my dad was like, no, I don't drink.
I actually don't like beer. When I was a kid, sure. I mean kid. I mean like 18, 19.
Yeah.
And not like as a child. That's interesting. Yeah. So my parents are pretty much the same. My mom, my dad, they didn't drink. They didn't smoke. They didn't do any of that. They were as clean as you can get. My father would tell me the stories of how he'd have work meetings or like work events, Christmas parties, and he'd go there and they'd offer him a glass of wine, or they had wine and they were serving there, and he'd have a glass, and he's like, my head was spinning. He made it sound like he was on a roller coaster and he was on a hardcore trip. And then as I became an adult, my dad, you had a glass of wine. But that's how seldom that they drink.
Yeah, they didn't drink. My mom would sneak a cigarette here and there. Like, she's like, oh, I don't smoke. But then you'd catch her outside smoking, like, a random cigarette. I don't think they ever did anything besides cigarettes, again, to my knowledge.
Well, outside of not telling you not to do it, what was the reason? Was there a reason given to you? Like, don't do drugs because of what?
Oh, it's just bad for you. It's just bad for you. And same thing with cigarettes. My dad would be like, oh, you shouldn't smoke. But then it's like he's smoking. And I'm very surprised that none of us picked up smoking because, again, he never smoked in the house, but he'd always smoke, like, outside. Like, he'd go outside smoking cigarettes. He'd go somewhere and smoke, but never, I don't know. It's odd to me that none of us picked that up.
So, interestingly enough, my parents didn't have any issues with addiction, but my uncle, Yu, he for some period of my life, he grew up on the other side of our house. In that other apartment. Remember, we had 4 family apartments. We talked about in the financial episode. They were in apartment 192, or 194, I should say. Or
one was 192, 194.
Separated by 2. We were 94. We were 192, so they were 190. My bad. So anyway, I only heard stories. I never seen him. I think I've seen him smoke a cigarette once or twice. But you know, my man apparently back in the day loved to throw down some drinks, and to the point where the family considered him an alcoholic. He would just drink and smoke and drink and smoke and drink and smoke. And one day, he was drinking and smoking, and blood started streaming out of his nose, and his blood pressure was like in the high 2s. It was crazy. Like he should have been dead. And the way my parents told the story, it's like, yeah, because he was drinking and smoking so much that he almost died, almost killed him. But I think what actually caused his blood pressure to go up and the bleeding, the hemorrhaging to be so bad was because my man used to pop Advil.
Oh,
like,
my.
As we all know, Advil's a blood thinner. He used to be popping Advil like M&Ms. And so when you drink and take Tylenol, right, you're thinning your blood. They're all blood thinners, right? So you're just going to bleed and bleed. So anyway, he hasn't had a drink since. So as far as I know.
Right. Oh, my goodness.
So
so not in my immediate family, but we had a nephew, rest in peace, Ty. He passed away from a fentanyl overdose, but it was laced. I don't know what drug he was buying, but it was laced with fentanyl, and it like killed him automatically. So it was like an accidental suicide, or what do they call it?
Drug overdose.
Yeah, drug overdose. Yeah. But yeah, so that was in 2016. So I think nowadays it's like, don't buy drugs off the street because you don't know what it can have. You know? So the same thing with like people now buy marijuana. I would only buy marijuana from a dispensary.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't, if I was doing smoking or whatever, it wouldn't be off the street because you don't know what it can have mixed in.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, it's been almost 10 years now.
I'm sure that if you had attitudes or your family had attitudes about drug use before that, I'm sure they changed.
For sure. Yeah. It was just very sad. And like, again, just not a phone call that you expect to receive. But yeah. So that would be my takeaway. It's like, if you're going to do drugs, buy from a reputable source. Or reputable?
Reputable.
A reputable ESOL's coming out. But yes, from a source that you know they're going to test it, do it right, regulate it.
So in case you guys don't realize, buy fentanyl from a trusted source. No, don't do that.
Don't do that. No.
Jesus
And that's
Christ,
the thing.
man.
It's like, who would think that them trying to get their high is going to be laced with something else, you know?
And it brings to the point when people wage war on drugs or, categorize drug use as demonic or just evil, we also need to look at the reason why people use drugs, especially in a way that amounts to an addiction. We're talking about what's beyond recreational use. And that typically, obviously I've talked about my porn addiction on this podcast. It's in my book. It's not something I shy away from. And it's not really seen the same light oftentimes in conversation as alcohol or narcotic or a substance. But the root of every addiction is behavioral. And those behavioral addictions, regardless of what we use, is rooted somewhere in there being either a imbalance of chemicals in your brain, and that could be because of genetics, that could be because of trauma. They all need to be treated. And so your addiction problem is likely a trauma problem.
Yeah.
And, it's sad that we demonize people, like your late nephew. I'm sure people have demonized people like him who have died trying to chase their high lives and maybe what he was going through.
For sure. And I think that was another issue that he had. So he used to smoke a lot of weed and no one liked it that he was smoking so much. But then he's like, well, then you have other people that drink a lot, but no one cares because they're functioning. So they're like, they drink all they want, go function, go work, but I'm smoking. So you're seeing it more often than someone that drinks a lot. And then like you said, you're demonizing me, but alcohol is just as bad. Anything in overuse is bad, you know?
Right.
So.
And it's so interesting how certain substances and certain behaviors, because they're linked to socially acceptable social norms, are seen differently. But to paint the picture, let's look at what America's drug story is, right? Just to get you up to speed, there's some important dates I want folks listening to be cognizant of. So in 1970, that's when the Controlled Substances Act was passed, right? And that created drug schedules. So the things that we know is Schedule 2, Schedule 3, 4, and 5 is 5 schedules of drugs. That's how we've come that today, right? In 1970. And that essentially was something that was a schedule created by the government to tell us what is accepted and what's not, what is illicit and what is medically acceptable, like aspirin, Tylenol, Valium, what's the stuff like Oxycontin, right? Those are scheduled. I forget where they fall, but for marijuana was a Schedule 1 drug in line with cocaine and heroin and all that. So that was 1970. 1971, Richard Nixon. I am not a crook. I had to do that.
If you didn't know who that was Nixon.
I'm not a crook. Okay. So Nixon declares the war on drugs. I was just watching a documentary called Grass is Green on Netflix. Highly recommend it. You should check it out. Oh, that was our Bluetooth back there. Anyway,
So that really supercharged the drug enforcement. So when the war on drugs was created, right, Angie, that was the introduction in 1971 of the government actually creating laws enforceable on drugs. So the DEA was not a thing before then, right? Local law enforcement, they didn't really enforce laws on drugs. That wasn't a thing. But the war on drugs made it so that local and state level law enforcement could actually go into communities and enforce these drug laws. Now, I say that to say this. In 1986, right, the crack to powder cocaine sentencing disparity, that's what was happening then. And it was so crazy. It was a 100-to-1 ratio, right? Okay. Right now in 2010, the Fair Sentencing Act reduces it to 18-to-1. In 2018, the First Step Act made it the key parts retroactive. Some low-level cases, some still fell through the cracks. So the reason why we talk about that is that we know that the crack cocaine or the crack epidemic in the 80s resulted in the incarceration of many, many, many black and brown people, destroying a lot of families. Now, these communities were infused with those drugs, and therefore the enforcement was out of this world, and still is to this day, right? Now, today, medical cannabis is legal in only 40 states, and the adult use legal is in 24 states, right? So, and that's as of literally a few months ago. So the DOJ proposed moving marijuana from a Schedule 1 to a Schedule 3 in 2024, which would be decriminalizing it, still not fully federal legalizing it, but like decriminalizing it.
Okay.
And the DA has held hearings and so on and so forth, but it's still kind of working its way through. And Oregon was the first state to decriminalize possession, actually. I'm surprised it wasn't Massachusetts. You know?
Facts.
That's kind of crazy. So those are the facts, right? And I was, like I said, Grass is Greener, great documentary exploring the rise of cannabis. And you know where marijuana comes from, the name?
No.
If you were to take a guess, where would you say it came from?
Maria Juana, probably.
Maria Juana.
Maria
you say that again. With
Maria Juana, the grandmother of marijuana. What is it? I don't know.
Maria Juana, abuela Maria
La
Juana.
abuelita Maria Juana.
Oh, yo. If Julie and I have another kid, I'm gonna name her Maria Juana.
Maria Juana Lozan.
Jesus, I would never do that. But check this out. So back in the 30s, there was a body of science that about studying cannabis that showed its medicinal uses and so on and so forth. But the term cannabis is what it's been used to describe. But I believe it was Nixon when he waged war on drugs. It turned cannabis into marijuana because marijuana sounds like where it comes from. Where?
Like a Latin place.
Mexico.
Oh, of course.
There were two groups of people.
Get out of my face.
Right. There were two groups of people that in the 30s, and this is not Nixon, but there were two groups of people that they were worried about in the United States at that time. Illegal immigrants coming from Mexico and free black folks migrating to the north. And so they saw, okay, these are two groups of people who use cannabis. So marijuana, when you think about that, you associate it with Latino people, right? And so what are some ways that you can, because legally you can't lock people up for being black no more. You got Jim Crow, of course, but legally, what's another loophole now that we could look to criminalize black and brown people? You associate the use of a certain drug that's not bad, right? But if you start propagandizing it, you associate the use of it with Mexican people and with black people.
You know what's so funny, Vlad? Every problem ever made, ever created, ever to come about always comes down to racism, and people don't want to believe it. But the facts are the facts.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It's like, oh, you're bringing race into everything. Race isn't everything. Literally.
It's literally in everything. Right.
Damn.
And that's pretty much the how it started, how the demonization of it started, right? And so still we see run into that today. There was, in that documentary I was watching, there was two prosecutors, one black, one white. One is a former prosecutor. The black guy's a former prosecutor, went to Harvard Law School. And one white, I think he still is an attorney. And the black guy said something interesting. He's like, yo, I didn't go to Harvard Law School. I realized it too late. But I realized I didn't go to Harvard Law School to lock up black people for marijuana use. He's like, here's the thing. If you were going to those criminal proceedings, you would have thought white people didn't commit any crimes. And I was like, that's a riveting statement. Do say more, sir. And he said, the data consistently shows us, Angie, that marijuana use, drug use, is consistent across all groups of people, black, white, Latino,
right, whomever.
But somehow it was only being criminalized. It was being over-criminalized and over-represented in criminal cases in the courtroom. And it's because, and the white attorney said, I'm going to be honest with you, it is what it is. you would see black people in the courtroom for these criminal proceedings. And these war on drug crimes made it like a 2-year minimum in some cases. And as he doubled down, there was a whole report that came out that refuted all the propaganda nonsense specifically about marijuana.
Right.
But Nixon doubled down and is like, I'm still going to double down on crime because F y'all. And so that's how California created the 3-strike system. And so how do you keep black people out of the home? Is that and again, the fear was that guys like Louis Armstrong and all these jazz musicians who were using marijuana and it was making them creative, right? And they were like, yo, we don't want y'all coming up north with all the black folks from the South after the Civil War. We want all these people fleeing Jim Crow coming up north into our clubs, into our restaurants, into our theaters. We don't want them seducing our white women and making them drop their clothes and destroying our culture. It was always about race. It was always race embedded. And so anyway, I talk about that. Let's talk about what are some of the cultural attitudes about weed. Like I think of guys like Wiz Khalifa, I feel like one time I had to be like, yo, bro, I can't listen to this dude no more. And I'm like, why? I'm like, dude, every song is about weed. Every single song is about weed. I won't smoke it. I bet, yo, bro, do you do anything else in your day?
But it's just so funny because I think like, okay, I don't really listen to his music to see what he has going on, but like Bob Marley was smoking and he, and people liked him. Or was it just the time period that he was in versus like now?
So it's interesting about that because Bob Marley, so Rastafari culture, that was something that the Rastafarians were outcasts for a long, long time in Jamaica. They were seen as rebels. They were seen as kind of social awkward, just put them over there type of people. Reggae is what popularized the Rastafari religion, right? And weed in herbal medicine was at the center of it. Now, I don't know about you, but my mom, when I talked to, my mom would tell me the truth. If you ask her the question, she'll tell you the truth, whether she realizes it's good or not. But so my great-grandfather, not my grandfather, but I think my great-grandfather was an herbalist, right? Which means that my mom said there was a book of all of these. You have an ailment, you name it. You have a sickness, you name it. He had a list of all sorts of remedies, herbal remedies, just from things using from the earth, just from plants, healing, right? All sorts of remedies, all sorts of medicines, all based on stuff that was grown in the earth. And I don't know why that's such a crazy concept, but like, is that something that you've been exposed to in your family? Was anybody an herbalist? Like, they gotta,
Yeah, very natural. My Dominican side is very natural. They'd rather use like teas, roots, plants, eating things versus like taking Tylenol or taking medicine, like over-the-counter meds. But they've never been like smokers either. Right, like other plants for other medicinal purposes. But it's funny, no one in my family outside of like the younger generation is really into smoking like that. Plants or not. I think my dad and them are like the last smoking, like tobacco smokers.
Right.
And after that, it's like all done. Not even medicinal.
Yeah, I would say nobody really smokes in my family. I have a couple of family members who smoke weed, and smoking weed was never a thing for me growing up. I remember when I was a kid, there's a funny story. So when we were kids, we were doing things that we weren't supposed to be doing. 19 and 20, we were going to clubs and everything. We go with our friends, brothers who were 21 years old, and we all could get into the club, but then they would buy drinks for us, right? And so one time we were in the VIP section because when you a kid, that's like you might as well have won the lottery if you were in VIP, so you can impress other broke people by having a couple more dollars in your pocket that night than others, right? But we go with all these dudes that would buy the VIP, they buy bottle service and they do all that. You know how much you be paying? I found out they dropped $2,000 on bottle service, and I'm like,
Lord,
thank God y'all didn't ask us to go in with you on that because that is ridiculous, even for that time. And so one time, somebody passes me a roach, like a blunt, and I just hear my mom's voice in my head, like, boy. What female boys like them? Oh my God, you are smoking. And so I went to go take a puff, and then I dropped it out of fear, like out of sheer, like my mom was in there with me,
right?
And then the dude, my friend was like, "Yo, what are you doing, bro?" I just dropped. I'm like, I freaked out, right? And so opportunities came and went to smoke marijuana, but it was so demonized in my mind. And on top of that, I hate the smell of marijuana, not for nothing. So I was just always fearful of using it out of fear of violating my religious and household customs, not necessarily for anything I knew about cannabis.
Yeah, I had friends in college that smoked cloves, and they used to smell
Wait.
so delicious.
What, the cloves that you put in food?
No, they were
Oh.
like cigarettes, but they weren't called cigarettes. They were cloves. That's what they were called. But they smelled like nice. They didn't smell like
what?
regular cigarettes.
All right. Okay. Did they have to roll these clove cigarettes themselves?
No, they were already rolled.
They're cigarettes, or they?
Yes, they look like them. I don't even think they might be discontinued, honestly.
Is this here in the United States?
Yeah,
They
Florida.
smoke cloves.
That's the name of them, Vlad. Not cloves like a garlic clove or like a cinnamon
but what
clove.
are they? Is it tobacco?
Yeah.
Oh, girl, I thought you meant you had them smoking cloves. Like
No, but that's the name. That's what you called them.
oh,
Cloves.
Nah. You Floridians are something.
You
else.
Massachusettsans.
No,
you-
we're Massachusetts.
Whatever.
I'm playing. I don't even know what do you call somebody from Massachusetts? Let us know.
A masshole.
A masshole. All right. We're, that's a good one. No, but what's a proper name? That's a slang.
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
A site. But yeah, cloves. So that was way better than cigarettes and way better than like marijuana.
Are you thinking about like a Black and Mild? Is that what you're talking about?
A black and mild is different than a clove, but yes.
Okay,
So black and
but-
mild also smelled nicer.
Yeah, it smells nice. Right?
Nicer
Okay,
than
yeah.
yeah.
I used to think people were so cool for smoking
For
Black
black
and
and milds.
Mild. Yeah, and then I actually smoked one day. I'm like, this is gross.
It probably, I mean, I've never smoked tobacco or whatever, but I'm sure that smoking it probably tastes the same as a regular cigarette. It's just whatever comes out that's like a nicer aroma.
I went through a very brief phase where I was sampling cigarettes.
Which was your favorite? Virginia Slims? That's another one that people smoke.
No, when I say it lasted like a week or so.
What
And
are
it
you
was like
trying to figure out if you liked it?
Yeah, I was just trying to figure out my life, honestly. Like it was just a weird time for me. And yeah, like we'd go out and if I had been drinking, I'd smoke like a cigarette.
Gotcha.
And part of it was just, I don't know, trying to be cool. I don't know what it was, man, but it was whack. I didn't like it. I smoked a Black and Mild and I was like, it smelled better when other people were smoking it, you know? And after the first few times, like, I don't even know how much of a cigarette you smoke until you put it on the floor and step on it. I don't know anything about it. You know what I'm saying? So smoking culture has never been a thing for me. I'm not really into smoke. I'm still not into smoking. I don't smoke. There was a period of time where, we went to hookah bars and all that shit. But that shit's just, it's gross. And it hurts.
Oh, does it?
It hurts.
Like your lungs?
Yeah, well, smoking hookah, I think, is like 100 times. It's like smoking 100 cigarettes.
Yeah, I never got into hookah either.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Nah, it was not a thing. I think like 6 years ago, Julie and I went out we went to Florida, actually, and we got a hookah pen.
That would be where you would get a hookah pen.
Right. We got a hookah pen.
We're into all the things.
And that shit hurt my lungs, and I never did it again. So that was that.
Have you ever vaped? That's another thing people like to do.
No, I am not interested in that.
No, me neither.
I'm not interested in any of that. No. Vaping is not only addictive, but it's highly, highly dangerous.
Yeah.
Very dangerous.
I know. I'm sounding like a very...
Kids doing it.
Yeah, the young kids do be doing it. They do be do.
They do be do.
They do be do.
Yeah, but
I'm sounding very like, not sheltered. What's the word? Like, do what you want to do. Smoke if you want to smoke. I just have never done it, so I can't tell you what is the best thing to do and not to do. But yeah, I'm just feeling like I'm very anti things. But no, I'm very do what you got to do if that's what you want to do.
Now, and here's the thing, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Growing up in a Catholic household, we criminalize everything. And Christians, if you grew up in a legalist level household, everything is criminalized. But outside of the Bible, there's no real reason outside of it's just not biblical. Right?
Yeah, well, no, it's like you're hurting your temple. Your body's your temple. You're hurting it.
I mean, we're hurting our temple by abusing Advil.
Yeah.
And high fructose corn syrup.
And all the things.
So I think it's open to what people interpret as helping or hurting. But
right.
I think it helps all of us to know the facts for ourselves. Science is so great, people. You know what I'm saying? And we have dedicated our existence as people to figuring out how things work and why they work. So if we have it on good information how certain substances help or harm our body, make good use of that information.
Yeah.
Think for yourself.
And that's the thing. things might not affect you the same way they affect someone else.
Right.
Prime example, my dad has been smoking since he was 12. Since he has dementia, he stopped smoking because he forgets that he smokes. And sometimes he's like, oh, he needs something. And it's like, oh, you just want some candy, or, you just need a snack. So it's like he hasn't smoked, but his lungs are fine. It's not, smoking literally like a pack a day for years hasn't affected him the same way that someone that probably picks it up once or twice gets lung cancer.
That's the wild part.
You know what I mean?
That's wild.
Genetics plays such a big part in like our bodies and how we react to things that you have to also take that into consideration.
And addiction.
Oh, that too.
There are people that can have one puff of weed and never get addicted, and there are people who can have one puff of weed and get hooked instantly.
Yeah. Same thing with alcohol.
Yeah.
If you already have that in like it's like hereditary, that's in your background, it might happen. Wallace's dad, he was an alcoholic all his life. And Wallace, he'll take like a drink or two, but if Wallace drinks more, like he can go forever. Like he has a very high tolerance.
Have you seen that happen before?
Oh yeah. And I don't want to call it a problem, but he would definitely drink more like when we were in college and before the girls. And now like he doesn't even want to keep alcohol in the house because the girls are there,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's like wine only.
So while we talking about that, when you went to college, obviously, and you were part of a sorority, what were some of the things you were exposed to there in terms of substance use, drug use? How did that clash with your cultural upbringing, and did it even matter?
Yeah, so we were part of the MPHC that at least the sororities, it's not like an alcohol like party type thing. It's more like community service, sisterhood part of it. But a lot of fraternities do have alcohol problems. And that's something that they are exposed to. A lot of parties, a lot of drinking. But no, not in my experience.
Is it a part of is alcohol a part of the initiation rituals?
No, not for, no.
Okay, so it's not. So
no.
like,
it might be for like the other counts. No, I'm sure it is for the white sororities and fraternities, but that's not my experience. So I can't really talk about that. But you do see it. I did go to a large university. White. I did go to a large university, and you do see it. People be blacked out, drunk at a party.
But that was never
part of
you.
life. No.
Any of your friends in school ever get blacked out? Like Thirsty Thursday, that type of thing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you were an RA, right?
I was. Did I see it? Yeah. We had to learn like the Bacchus position. Like if you've seen
the what?
The Bacchus.
Bacchus?
Yeah. So that's if someone's passed some god of drinking. So it's like if you find someone like passed out drunk, you have to put them to their side. So in case they throw up, they don't like asphyxiate. Yeah. So it's like the things that you learn just in case. Thankfully, I never had to experience that. My RA babies were perfect angels.
Did you crack out a whip on them?
No.
So shout out to Raina, my sister, my college sister, one of my best friends in the world, her and Kevin. You still haven't met them, but you're going to meet them. So that's where we met, was in college.
Oh, was she your RA?
She was in my RA,
okay,
but she was a RA.
Mm-hmm.
But she's, all right, so Ray's going to kill me for telling the story.
Thank you, Raina, for the story.
All right, so Raina was an RA, and she lived in this house called, I think, was it Ordway? Something like that. LaSalle University, formerly known as LaSalle College. That's what it was when we were there. And so it was wild, like wild. It's the wildest stories. I've never seen anything like this. I was only on campus for a semester, but granted, Andrew, this shit was crazy. So somebody's in the hallways screaming somebody's name. The girl's name was Christina. And like, Christina, like just screaming her name, probably drunk out of their mind, right? And Raina just got fed up. And Raina's a lot like you. She just, if she's feeling it, you gonna feel it. So she just walked out. She just opened the door. She's like, excuse me, Vlad, just real quick. We were just talking. She's like, excuse me. She was like, Christina, yeah, somebody's calling you. Just, Raina, that's why I asked you, did you crack a whip on her? Raina was, when these dudes, again, LaSalle University is predominantly white liberal arts college in one of the whitest towns in Massachusetts, in Newton, Mass, right?
Oh, Newton.
And so you had a handful of black and brown people, but the vast majority of students were white. So and so Rada she's like, I'm gonna whip these white boys into shape. She came outside with a clock, like an alarm clock. It was just whipping it around, like, I guess somebody.
Oh my goodness!
As an RA, she's like, I like a fuck up myself.
Raina.
Yo, Thirsty Thursdays were a craze, and I didn't just experience that at LaSalle, but I went to Sam State University, man. And looking back at it now, sis, I'm just like, damn, we wasted a lot of time and money, a lot of things we don't remember. But here's the thing too, when we talk about drugs and substance use, again, I was naive. I didn't think people drank in high school.
I didn't think people did drugs.
I didn't think people did drugs
Yeah,
either.
but I saw that in college too. Like I'd be walking back to the dorms or whatever, like early in the morning from being out at a friend's house, and people be in their cars like doing lines.
Oh shoot, that's crazy.
Craziness.
That
And
is
in my sheltered mind, I'm like, am I in a sitcom? Is this real life?
This is NCIS.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Right? Just in their cars.
So, it's funny. So there was this girl, I'm not going to say her name, that I went to school with at LaSalle. And I always noticed, and you know me, I'd be noticing weird shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I always noticed, Angie, that she had one of her nostrils just always seemed to be a little flared, a bit more flared than the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, maybe it's nothing. But I kept saying to my boys, I'm like, yo, why is her nose like that? Maybe she got plastic surgery. Maybe she need to even that out. I don't know what it is. Later years, I found out that she was one of those people doing lines of cocaine. And she was always partying. And I thought to myself, first of all, where do you get cocaine in Newton? Second of all,
well, it's Newton. It's probably easy. Again, from the streets, I don't know. Don't trust it. You know me now. I don't buy anything off the street.
In Newton, Mass. But there are dope peddlers that they just push dope in these towns. Now these little suburbs, they don't have as many patrols.
Right.
And I know this because I was a cop. There are not as many patrols in the inner city as there are in rural and suburban communities. Like we live in a rural community. We've lived there for over a year and a half, and I've only seen a cop patrol here maybe 5 times, and if that, it was just like one time a night, and that's it.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm like, I don't know where y'all getting cocaine, but clearly ain't nobody hurting you over it, right? We did have one kid that got kicked out of school like within the first week because he was dealing dope.
Yikes.
Out of his dorm, and it was kind of sad, but I'm kind of glad he did it because then I got his dorm bed. So
you lost my game, baby.
You lost my game, bro. You should have been selling mattresses, man. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't really in my family like that. The only thing I could say was senior prom. There was a dude, I'm not going to say his name, but one of my friends showed up with his prom date. And again, I don't know what I'm looking for. I've seen it on, and so we're all in the limo, and they were like kind of funny and giggly, quiet, and I'm like, all right, they're kind of quiet over there in the corner in this big ass Humvee limo, whatever we got. And then when they get there, they couldn't get in. And it's because they were too drunk. I'm like,
and they didn't let them in?
There was no liquor in this. And as far as I knew, there was no liquor in that limo. But they were so drunk they couldn't get in. Imagine spending. I rented my suit. I hope nobody bought their prom suit because I think it's a waste of money. But imagine spending hundreds of dollars on a nice prom suit. And this dude was all white, wearing all white, a nice prom suit, a nice prom dress, just not to get in because you were too drunk. It ain't worth it to me, man.
No.
So, and there's no judgment. Like I said, I've been there, maybe not getting into places, but, I've had my experiences getting, dare I say, blackout drunk, and when I was younger, early 20s, 19s, it's what does culture say about alcohol use and about cannabis use, right? The attitudes, I think a lot of times in a lot of Caribbean households as well, is that drinking is fine as long as you're with family.
And as long as you still remember what happened, like you're not blackout drunk. You're just like socially drinking, I guess is the terminology, right?
Yeah. Well, think about how many alcoholics you see. I think you had a word that you mentioned earlier, functioning. There are a lot of functioning alcoholics, just like there are a lot of functioning addicts across all spheres, right? But to see how those addictions flourish, how they start, but then, I used to work with dudes, Angie, that were alcoholics. And especially working in the public sector and public service jobs, you're going to see a lot of substance abuse. And I don't know why that is particularly. A lot of the people not a lot, but a good number of people that I worked with in the public sector for these state jobs I used to do, DCR during the summertime. A lot of these guys were much older than me, but there's the only job they can get.
It's just probably to numb whatever pain they have in their lives. Like you said, people go to these substances because of trauma. So it's like, what trauma do they want to or what voices in their mind are they trying to drown out with the alcohol? But I don't think people realize alcohol, it's what's the name for the substance that just
depressant.
Yeah, it's a depressant. So it's just going to make you more sad, so it's like, you're not helping the trauma. You're just continuing the cycle. So
what do you say about people who use it either recreationally or medicinally? Well, not alcohol, but other medically, like for example, psilocybin, like I mentioned in that documentary. I'm going to find it. But in that documentary, it's been decriminalized in certain states only for use in therapeutic settings, right, to help supplement and opened up the mind to break down the ego for patients who've had extensive trauma. It's actually shown, research has shown probably like almost 100 years ago that it had that utility. It's just, again, what was the messaging in the government and in popular media versus its actual utility. And so alcohol, we know, is far more dangerous to the human body, to the human genome, than marijuana. Because when you think of drugs, you'd probably think of marijuana and alcohol in the same sentence.
Yeah.
But they're, like, to be honest with you, people make it look like it ain't nothing to have a couple of shots. People doing 5-6 shots. Last time we went to for Father's Day, when we got the fathers together, my boy was in from Texas. And he's like, yo, you got to have this green tea. So we tried some of this green tea. It's like, I think it's like bourbon and some, so it was green. It was light. It was cool. But then they were like, oh, so then we saw some friends from college there that just happened to be at that restaurant. And we haven't seen them in a long time. They're like, have some green tea. And so, you know, we're all catching up. You know, me and Walton were hanging out. And then someone was like, hey, yo, who wants to have some shots? And I was like, excuse you? No.
Right.
I don't do shots. I'm grown. What do I look like? I don't know how you grown and have kids and be doing shots. What's wrong with you? Ugh.
Yeah.
Ew.
I think to your point about the remoflavin, what's the thing called?
What?
The flubiflavin, the mushroom.
Psilocybin.
Psilocybin. The people that are doing those are doing them with the help of an expert, right? Like a professional.
Not always.
No?
No.
Oh, I thought for the documentary it was with like a psychologist.
Yeah. Like
okay.
In that documentary. But there were plenty of people who were using it in a non-regulated fashion, which is not recommended.
Okay, well, that's my thing. I feel like if it's regulated to the point, it's like someone's there to assist you in that transition and that world that you're entering because of the substance. I think in that respect, then why not? Like, if it's going to help you long term, I say go for it. But it's like, what are the benefits of just drinking? You know, there are no benefits.
There are no benefits.
It's not relaxing you. It's not, what is it, giving you liquid courage, as people call it? But then it stops, and then what?
Well, yeah, and you know what? If you're watching this, help us in the studies.
Yeah. With
some studies, because I've yet to see a study that points to any potential benefit towards drinking alcohol.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of them that people are doing like, they stopped drinking because there are no benefits.
Right.
You know, like people, not that they were alcoholics, but they just felt like, why am I drinking? You know, and it's like now they have like this clarity. They lost weight. Like they're just improving their lives because they stopped drinking. But like to your point, I've yet to see a study that is like the benefits of drinking a glass of wine a day or the benefits of drinking 3 beers a day.
I have seen not studies, but I have heard that it was hard, like drinking a glass of red wine has some potential benefits for cardiac health. I don't know how.
I have not. But yeah, share those. Yeah, share those. Share anything that you want to share with us about your substance journey or your alcohol journey. Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Because again, we just found this and I don't think we have enough experience to really say yay or nay because we haven't been exposed to these things ourselves. Well,
it says here that on the topic of red wine, the antioxidants in red wine, particularly resveratrol. Am I saying that? Resveratrol. Jesus. Okay, help me out. May actually prevent blood clots and improve heart health by raising good HDL cholesterol.
Oh, does it matter which red wine? Does it have to be like a certain class, or can it be $2 Chuck that you get at Trader Joe's?
Two what?
Yeah, the $2 wine from Trader Joe's. Could it be that, or does it have to be like a nice red wine from somewhere? I don't know.
I'm not sure. It just says red wine here. Anything with resveratrol or resveratrol, but moderation is key, like everything else. But yeah, I mean, those are our experience. Have you ever? I know that it's never been a thing in your house, but as an adult, have you ever experimented with any of these drugs?
No, gummies.
Like the edibles. So what was your experience with the edibles?
Oh, it literally relaxed me 100%. But again, they were bought at a place, a dispensary. Whatever. So yeah, I would trust that.
So you know, it's funny. So we were in Virginia. We went to a place and looking for those gummies because CBD particularly has been studied and helps some people with chronic pain. So I was like, yo, I could use something to help my back out. You know what I mean? And so, and you know, Jules has anxiety, whatever. Like, it just help her relax and stop overthinking.
Yeah.
And so we go to this place and they're like, yeah, you have to have a medical card in the state of Virginia. And we're like, and she's like, yeah, so you have to do that. I'm like, we're not even from here. And so then some guy so we just walked out and she's like, you should go to Maryland if you want to do that. I was like, all right, cool. So then we're walking back to our car and some dude that was parked next to us was like, hey, I've actually got some. He's like, you know, it's not that hard for you to get your license. You just get it. And I was like, nah, bro, we're not even from here, man. You good though. And he's like, oh, well, I know a dude that can sell you some weed, man.
No.
And I was like, no. I'm like, and mind you, I think I had my state police hat on, so I'm kind of like, what did you say?
Right.
Not that I have arrest powers, and even if I did, I definitely wouldn't be exercising them here. But yeah, I was like, nah, bro.
Yeah,
I ain't never make a dope sale and participate in a dope sale. I ain't about to do one today. But anyway, yeah. So it's funny. So like, I'm a person that loves. I really have a deep appreciation for science and literature, and we have these God-given gifts to study and to obtain knowledge and to create theories, hypotheses, and to investigate them and have trials and stuff. Like I just love that stuff. I just love learning how things work, and I'm a big fan of science. Maybe it's because I'm from Cambridge, and so sometimes for me not sometimes, as I got older, my religious inspired value system was constantly challenged by my thirst for knowledge and understanding.
Yeah.
And, I was like, you know what? There is, seeing that documentary about psilocybin, watching this documentary about it, I'm like, I don't like the smell of weed, and I possibly never will. But I do like the benefits that it proposes, right?
Oh,
like
same.
you said, you had it and it made you super calm. And so in this documentary, Grass is Greener, you see these guys talking about how like guys like Louis Armstrong, jazz musicians, Cab Calloway talked about marijuana and their music. And people who worked with them would tell you how it was on set. You show up to a studio, somebody got a joint, and the creative process just flows, and then beautiful music happens afterwards. I'm like, that sounds cool, but I don't think I want to do that. But here's the crazy part, Angie. I got this. At the direction of this guy at the dispensary, I got this gummy. It was like a mango gummy that was like equal parts CBD and THC. Now, we had a really bad experience going to. Oh, I was gonna blame you Floridians, but it's not y'all. Y'all get a pass for this. It was Louisiana. We went there for our honeymoon, man. And some dude gave us it was like sour bunch worms that we bought there. He's like, yeah. And before we saw those, he's like, yeah, I'd recommend this one, man. We use this to wean people off of heroin. I was like, I'm gonna pass on that. I'm gonna take a pass on that one once it shows whatever. Anyway, long story short, not regulated. I think the thing said 800 THC on it in the bag. I didn't know what that meant at that time, but it was crazy. And that's it. But
the most gummy I've ever taken, I think, is 25.
I think that's all you're supposed to take. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we buy some from her, we buy some from me, and we're not going anywhere, right? We're in our hotel room. So that again, I'm not saying that this is something you should try and exhaust. You should not be taking anything and going anywhere. And Angie, it was the most horrifyingly beautiful thing that I've ever experienced. Now, when I say that, is because at first I was bugging out of my brain. I felt like when it kicked, and I felt relaxed and calm. And that's a great
you're
feeling.
Floating.
Yeah, I'm floating. But Angie, my spine was on fire, yo. Like,
that's the part I wanted to relax.
Yeah, I took this shit so I could relax it. Yo, my spine was burning, not like in pain, but just burning.
Oh my god!
And I could feel it like in my bones, and my bones are all on fire. I'm like, oh my god! I took this gummy. They told me it was good.
I'm finna die in Virginia.
Now I came all the way to Virginia just to die. I'm gonna be a permanent paraplegic. And I started Googling. I'm like, is this an allergic reaction? Can you have an allergic reaction? Am I gonna die? Can you die? Crazy shit. But then when that subsided, I could just like feel. I'll tell you, I didn't feel any pain in my body.
Oh, good.
No pain, and it almost felt. I was like, oh, it felt good, and I felt like I was floating. But there was so much artwork and art, like everything was just because I go to sleep. I'm like, I need to sleep. Let me put my classical music in, and the music, I could see it, and it was so beautiful. Have you watched Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah,
it was like
yeah.
But not in a super trippy sort of way, just like a beautiful, relaxing sort of way. And I felt super creative. Like I felt like I could just stroke my hand. And I'm starting to understand what people were saying in that documentary that I'm going to find the name of before this episode is over about psilocybin.
How to Change Your Mind?
How to Change Your Mind.
Yeah, I was Googling, and I was like, I think it's this one. But yeah, How to Change Your Mind.
How to Change Your Mind. Highly, highly recommend if you want to open your mind to this stuff. Just get the information and make of it what you may. But you're not going to understand when in that the interviewees, the patients that they were using the psilocybin with, these are people who had, and again, this is for people who had breakthrough symptoms with antidepressants that were not working, other clinical interventions that were not working, other modalities for therapy that were not working. And they said, okay, let's try some psilocybin-assisted therapy. And the people would describe their egos just being broken down, like the barriers in therapy that you typically have in talk therapy of, well, is this what I really want to say? Is this how I really feel about this? Is this how I should feel
You're
about
not
this
honest.
experience?
Yeah.
You're not being honest. You're trying to craft it. And there's none of that because it breaks every piece of inhibition. And I'll tell you, like, with that gummy, I felt uninhibited.
Oh, I like that.
Which could actually be kind of dangerous, depending on, like, but again, just to have that experience, I was like, man, that was beautiful. Now, does that mean I want to take this ish every day? Hell no.
No, but I
Well,
can
it was
see
nice.
I can see the benefits of that, especially like you said, you're in therapy and like your guard is down. So it's like you're not overthinking. You're not like, I'm going to win therapy. It's like, how do you win therapy?
I'm going to win therapy.
Yeah, it's like, I'm going to win. I'm going to be the best patient. But it's like now you're curating to what you think your therapist wants to hear versus like what's really going on, you know? So I can see the benefits of being on that, you know, with the assistance of your therapist to like just kind of like be honest, bring down that wall that's keeping you from like being able to share what you really want to share, you know? So I don't know. I'm going to take a look at this How to Change Your Mind documentary.
I would
Not sponsored, but y'all should take a look.
But yeah, I would highly recommend that if this subject matter interests you. How to Change Your Mind and Grass is Greener.
Grass is greener.
Especially if you want some information on the historical context of cannabis particularly. But you're starting to see a rise of that in popular culture now, right? I don't know if you're on Facebook often, but now I think I saw it once and then I clicked on it for more info and I didn't actually read the website, but then now I'm seeing it all the time in my algorithm. I'm seeing there being a rise of these cannabis infused drinks and many more people specifically in this country now are abandoning alcohol in droves.
Oh,
just
that's great.
altogether.
But you know what? We had a parents' night with Tag Team. Shout out Tag Team. And Wallace had one of those cannabis infused drinks.
Oh, he did?
And he really liked it. It was like peach flavored. But yeah, he really liked it.
You know, Snoop said something in this Grass is Greener documentary, and I thought it was a hilarious thing. He's like, man, check this out, nephew. I do a terrible Snoop. But he's like, you could put 100 people who don't like each other in a room and have one bottle of alcohol, somebody's going to wind up dead. He's like, I guarantee you put 100 people in the room and you put some weed smoke in the air, everybody's going to be taking selfies and hugging on each other. He's like, don't nobody want to get up and fight when they smoke. Everyone just wants to chill and be happy and eat.
And yeah.
And eat. All right. But yeah, it's just, it's riveting. And the reason why I bring this up is because here's an example, right? Like, remember we talked about tattoos and earrings and piercings and how that was taboo in our culture, and it was biblically based, even though there was no. Again, I recommend this, and I hope my son doesn't listen to this in 20 years. Actually, I hope you do. So,
oh my goodness! I love you.
Expand your mind, and some things you're just gonna have to realize for yourself to realize, oh, maybe my parents, maybe they weren't wrong. Maybe they were right for themselves. This is right for them to believe. But I don't actually have to subscribe and do exactly as I'm told. I have to. Our job as parents is to give our children what we know. They abide by our rules. We give them cultural value. We give them value systems that we think are going to help them out in life. And later in life, when they become parents or adults, they're going to be responsible for their own. So that brings us to our next question. What are we telling our kids about this? We know what our parents have told us about drugs. Don't do them. Drinking. Don't do it. What are we telling our kids? What is the messaging that we're going to have when that time comes to have with our children?
Oh, I'm not looking forward to it, Vlad, but I'm going to do, I think, a combo. I'm going to say don't do it, but explain the why. You know, don't do it because X. And if you do feel like you want to do it, at least come to me so I can tell you where to go, because I don't want them buying stuff off the street.
Right.
That's like the scariest part of all this, Vlad, you know? Yeah. That would just suck. So it's like, okay, if you do want to try it, first of all, let's follow the law. What does the law say? You have to be at least 18, 21, I don't even know, for cannabis is what I'm talking about.
21, I believe.
Right. So it's like, okay, well, you have to be this age. And when you get to be that age, where are you buying it from? A place that it's regulated. It's not going to be laced with anything that can kill you. And we have that example of look what happened to your cousin that you never got to meet. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's like that. I think that's just the scariest part. And it's like having those open conversations, because I don't want what happens is people are hiding it. And this is what happens when you're trying to hide stuff. So it's like be open. And I hope that we have that relationship where they could just come to me and be like, I'm really thinking about this. Like, help me out, or what should I do, you know?
And that's really all we can hope for, right, with our kids, is that if they are experiencing something, pressure, whether there's pressure behind it or not, that they could come to us.
Right.
That's not something I felt like I could do with
no,
my parents.
Definitely.
At all. I would say my father, if I was exploring drugs or anything like that, or even sex in high school, I felt like my dad would have been somebody I could have talked to, because of my dad would have a neutral reaction.
Yeah.
I didn't talk to him about sex. We never talked about sex.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, my father, he found condom wrappers in my room when I was living with him. He found condom wrappers in my room, and he was upset about it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he was upset that I was sexually active or if he was upset that I was hiding it from him.
Or they used a condom.
Vladimir, how could you not go raw doggy
Oh, I could have been a grandpa right now, Vladimir.
Yeah, no, I don't think my daddy would have been very happy, man. But yeah, so I love that you have that in mind because straight prohibition has never worked. It did not work in this country. It did not work for alcohol. It did not work for weed. It did not work for anything.
Yeah.
Okay.
And kids are going to be kids. They're going to be, like, that's the whole point. You raise your kids to be curious. Like, you don't want them to be, like, in this box of not thinking for themselves. And what happens when you think for yourself? You have questions. And it's like, where are they going to go? Would you rather them come to you so at least you can give them the answer that you want them to have?
Right.
Or to their friends that they don't know shit either. So it's
right.
like the blind leading the blind out here.
The high leading the high.
Right.
The drunk
Come
leading
on.
the drunk.
So
You know
it's
what
like
I'm saying?
I want to have like that open relationship where they're like, you know what, my parents aren't going to be upset about this. Like they'd rather me come to them.
Yeah.
And I think as parents too, we have to like control our reactions. Because it's like, mommy, I'm really thinking about like, smoking weed. What the fuck you think about smoking? Like, be for real. Who's going to want to come to you after that reaction? You know? Oh, hell no, not in my house. Oh, okay, not in your house. I'm finna go to Susie's house. Go do it over there.
We know we can get it in at Susie's
That's
house.
what I'm saying.
Her mom is cool.
Right. So
Right.
it's like, relax. Like, take a deep breath. And easier said than done. I'm over here talking shit like, that's what you got to do until it happens. And I'm going to be the one out here popping caps because my daughter wants to smoke weed, you know? But it's like
swinging alarm clocks.
Right. But those are the things that I think about, like, okay, take a deep breath. Okay. Because even now, like, their questions are, like, so minimal. And it's like, Alana likes to be sneaky and do stuff. But and eventually.
Don't I know it? We learned that the hard way.
Right.
I'm sorry. Did we ever tell them that story?
I don't know.
All right.
But yeah, Alana.
Yeah, long story short,
Yeah.
Alana is my niece, not by blood, but by whatever.
Yeah.
By destiny.
Mm-hmm.
And, we put the kids to bed upstairs. Lito sleeping in his room. Alana and her sister sleeping in the room across. And then we just hear some walking.
At like 3 a.m.
But sneaky walking. So it's like loud, but not trying to be loud with little feet. And And so check this out, right? I go downstairs and I'm looking for, I'm like, either we have a kid awake or there's a giant rat in here somewhere. And I see Alana crouched right in the playroom next to the rocker we have. And I whisper to her, I'm like, what are you doing? I'm sorry. And then she just starts walking back to her room. And it was like the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, and it's like she has that conviction. So it's like she'll tell you like, oh, mommy, I did this or I broke this, right? But it's like, every time she came to me with something, I'm over here like, why did you do that? You're always breaking stuff. La, 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 la. She's not going to come back and tell me. So like my reaction is I take a deep breath and I'm like, thank you so much for telling me. And like, what do you think is going to happen now? And she'll either create her own punishment or like try to figure out how we can fix it, you know?
I like that so
you know,
much.
She's only 5. Like, what do I expect from her, right? But it's like when they're little and you have big reactions to the little things, they're not going to come to you with the big things.
Yeah.
And that's why it starts so early with like petty shit that doesn't even matter, you know?
Right.
So that's how I try to go about it. And granted, I'm still human. Sometimes I do slip up, but I always go apologize and, we start over again.
Yeah, and you taught me that. You taught me that. And it's made me feel so much better about myself as a parent that you're going to mess up. You're gonna wild out on your kids sometimes. But it's what you do with that. You have an opportunity to apologize, which is huge for them.
Yep. And it teaches them that when they mess up, they apologize and you keep
come back.
Exactly.
And that's what we want to do. Like, look, I'm not, if Lito decides to go to college, I have no illusions that he's going to probably drink. He might have a drink. He might not. I don't know.
Exactly.
Whatever he's into. He might smoke. My parents didn't do the best job. Actually, they didn't really try at all. Actually, very similar to your parents. They didn't say, okay, this is what happens to in your body on alcohol or on drugs. I want you to think about is this something that you want for yourself? Is this something you want to experience? And if you try it and you hate it, then fine.
Yeah.
But there was none of that. Just don't do it or God will kill you.
Right. God will kill you. But that's the thing. It's like they only did the best they could with what they had. So it's like they didn't drink, so they didn't think it was a problem. Or they didn't go to college. They didn't think the exposure was there. They weren't exposed to all of that. So you know what I mean? But it's like if they had like the resources or people telling them or people that did go to college, like, hey, your daughter's going to college. This happened to me in college. Da, da, da. But they didn't have that either. And we do. So.
What's interesting is that I feel like Caribbean parents only share stuff with you decades later. That would have been so decades ago when I asked. I think my grandmother was an alcoholic. My mom's mom.
Wow.
Yeah, and I didn't know that.
And maybe that's why she didn't drink.
Maybe. So I guess before she found Jesus, she was known in the neighborhood to, like, if you cross my grandmother, she will come after you drunk. Like, come after you. And when she was alive, I think I've seen it. I think Manischewitz is always, or Manischewitz, I think is a great Jewish wine.
Okay.
Is on deck at every Haitian household. Don't matter if it's a happy or sad occasion, you got that. And it's like 18% alcohol. It's like whack. But yeah, so I'm like, that would have been really helpful to know. And, you know, addiction runs in my family in several places. I've had family members that have struggled with substance use in ways like whatever it is, whether structure, substance, or behavioral. But what I want my son to know is that okay, this is what runs in your family, and so you have to know if you want to experiment with you want to experiment with this is what it may lead to if you are not careful. If there's something that you're not addressing, and then you're using this as an opportunity to escape. Escapism isn't healthy, right? So I want Lito to when he's able to, because let's face it, right now I'm changing his diapers and bringing him to school. One day he's going to be bringing himself to school. He's going to be cleaning up his own messes.
Yep.
I don't want the voice, because we are the voice of conscience in our children. I don't want his voice to be fear.
Yep.
I don't want his voice to be shame. I don't want my voice in his head to be, you're unacceptable. This is unacceptable, right? I want him to know that in life is going to be what you make it. You're going to experience some things. You're going to hate some things. You're going to like some things. But come to daddy when you can. You might not want to come to daddy with everything. But when you feel like you have to and it's consequential, come to us. And I feel it's the same with substance use, right? Yeah. And I mean, look, I feel like I'm going to be more, because like alcohol it's just not fun anymore.
And there's no benefits to it.
I like me a nice martini every now and again, like a nice Cosmo, but it hurts. I can feel it hurting me. Like, you know, after your 30s, if you're listening to this and you're not in your 30s yet, when you get to your mid-30s, you could actually start feeling the things that are happening. Like, you could, when you roll your ankle, you could feel the fibers, like the cystocytes, whatever they're called, the platelets coming to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could feel things on a more granular level, and it's just not cool. But that would be my thing. So what are your closing remarks about faith, family, drugs, substances, weed, alcohol? What
I would say, just because it wasn't spoken to you doesn't mean that you shouldn't bring that subject up with your kids. When you know better, you do better. So let's do better. Let's bring those topics up to the forefront so our kids aren't over here like wondering, like, should I not? Is this something I could bring up to my parents? Because there shouldn't be anything off topic or off limits. You should be able to talk about anything with your kids, and your kids should be able to bring those conversations to you.
Exactly. And I agree with that. I'll say that if you're worried about how to bring drugs, alcohol, or any of that stuff up, either due to your religious background or your upbringing, these are the conversations that you have to have at home. You have to have these conversations, even if you don't know how to. Right? Have a village. That's why we are super intentional. That's how this podcast was birthed, was through having a village. If you don't feel comfortable having a conversation with your kids, somebody in your village will.
And if not, there's books for everything.
Yeah, they're like, dude.
The experts are out here writing.
They're writing. So, you know what I mean? Like, get it together.
Yes,
okay?
Please.
And as it pertains to drugs, like, look, educate yourself. Educate yourself. Don't just take what the government is telling you or what your parents are telling you or what your friends are telling you as gospel. Do the research for yourself. Like I said, we dropped 2 documentaries that I think are mind-altering. No, they're not mind-altering. You will not get high.
How to Change Your Mind.
How to Change Your Mind and Grass is Greener. Those are specifically about cannabis and psilocybin use. I highly recommend you watching those, not only for information about cannabis as a product, as a substance, but also understanding the deep-rooted history we have that has cultural, racial, and class implications about those drugs and about their effects and whatnot. I highly recommend it. But yeah, I think it was a great conversation, sis. As always, you know, we keep it classy. We keep it 100.
We back, baby.
We back, baby, up in here. It's your boy, Vlad the Bull. Before I even sign off, time out.
Yeah.
We didn't even say it. If you like alcohol or weed, that's cool. But if you like this podcast, subscribe.
Subscribe, baby.
We want you guys. We don't want you to be addicted to anything, but we want you to be addicted to this podcast.
I like that.
So as an addiction, you're going to want more, right? Mm-hmm. So please tell us what we want to talk about, what you want to hear.
Send us some messages.
Send us some messages. Drop your comments. We want to hear what you have to say about this topic. And is there anything we missed?
No, that's it.
Holla at us.
Yeah.
It's your boy, Vlad the Bull, your number one embrace coach.
And Angie, la cyber mommy. Stay rooted.
Thank you for listening to the Roots and Rhythm podcast. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you can stay notified for all our updates, including new episodes. Until next time, y'all, stay rooted.
This watch, so it's counting my steps. It's pretty cool, but I need new tennis shoes, Vlad. I've had my tennis shoes since probably before Lana was born. So do you have any recommendations? I know you're on your fitness all the time.
I used to think that you had to spend at least $150 on shoes, sis, in order for you to actually get some quality ones. But I'm telling you, these new shoes that I tried out, it's like you're walking on air. Matter of fact, you don't even remember you're walking on them at all. It's like you don't even remember you put your shoes on. One time I thought I was barefoot. I'm like, yo, where's my shoes at?
Oh, I love that. And are they light?
Oh, they're super lightweight. They make my old shoes feel like dumbbells by comparison. I'm telling you, these shoes are comfortable, they're lightweight, and it doesn't even feel like you have them on. And on top of that, you can wear them anywhere. They're designed for people who are on their feet all the time, for the moms and dads who are chasing around the kids. So I would highly recommend them if you're looking for something new.
So what are they called and where can I get them?
You can get them at standplus.com. You go to standplus.com, put in our promo code ADX for an exclusive discount off of your next pair. They are the best all-day recovery shoes, so go ahead and get you a pair.
I'm excited. Thank you, Vlad.
Come on, let's do it.